Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the BowhuntingAZ podcast. This episode is a recording of the Wayne Carlton Elk Seminar hosted by Christian Hunters of America. Wayne Carlton is infamous for his elk hunting adventures. Even touting his own line of elk calls and tubes, his wisdom is endless, and his humor is bar none. Let's jump on into the seminar.
Smell the coon. So this is a nighttime event down in the swamps of Florida. So the reason I say that, the mosquitoes are pretty bad, and Uncle Harvey used moonshine mosquito net. I thought he rubbed it on him. He drank it. He was in front of the truck there, and the headlights are getting dim because the battery ain't that good to begin with. And it says, Uncle Harvey, them mosquitoes are working on you, partner. I don't feel one. So that was the kind of relation we had, just an awful lot of fun. But back to the coon hunt, because this is real important. And I'll tell you why we'll now you hold her down, partner. I ain't got started yet. So, he must have had a good coon hunt somewhere. But so at any rate, we got the striped dog going in front of the truck. And it lights up. And I mean, the dogs in the box, they're about to have a cat fit to get out. So when Uncle Harvey says, go open the door, well, the 57 truck's about that high off the ground on it. So when you reach across it, being a 15-year-old kid, make sure when you unlatch that door that you are out of the way of fire. Because you get the paw prints all over the top of your head, and took most of my hair with it when it went by. So story to be had. So anyway, we let dogs out, and Uncle Harvey gave me a headlamp. Had a big square battery on your hip there. And he knew that I was going to probably not keep the headlamp where it should be. So he cinched her down to where your ears are burning. You can't hear very good. So we followed it. We let all the dogs out, and there's one big tree, in this big old cornfield, one great big oak tree that was so big, in fact, they couldn't get it out, so they just planted around it. But it's a great place for coons to be treed. So they all run to this, the striped dog, she's running up to the tree. Doing that kind of stuff. So I get up there with my 22 single shot and my headlamp on. And the idea, Harvey says, look up in there, he says, and I'm going to make them look at you. Well, there was no coons looking at me. And I said, they ain't looking, Harvey. He said, get ready to shoot, Con. I'm going to make them look. And that's the dog getting his butt kicked. And here's the coon getting his. So you got to remember you're doing this down in the swamps of Florida at 11 o'clock at night. Mosquitoes are, irregardless of the repellent, the mosquitoes are bad. So he's making all these sounds by sucking in air backwards. And he was thirsty before he got started. So at any rate, he starts squalling, and this headlamp and these eyes in the tree that you could not see anything before he started doing coon in a dog fight. You couldn't see any eyes. But when he started doing, they could not help but see who was kicking up on poor old Fred that had fallen out of the tree into this pack of hounds was going to eat everything. So all these coons said, well, what are you doing to Fred? Every time one would peek down to see what Fred was doing, I'd shoot that sucker. Now we got 25 cent a coon back in that day. And I'm proud to say that we got 12 coons out of one tree. Wow. Now, ain't that impressive? Uncle Harvey knew what to say at the time to make wildlife do something they did not plan on doing that night. So now they're looking down at this board with a 22 single shot, point blank range, and we get 12 of them. And I was tickled to death to go sell them to the quarters. And it was a great fun. But the biggest thing out of it was he knew what to say at the right time to make wildlife do something they didn't plan on doing. So if you're elk hunting, if you're turkey hunting, whatever you're hunting, especially if you're putting calling into the equation, you're making wildlife do something I guarantee they probably didn't plan on coming to your call. So what I'm going to try to do tonight is convince you with some calls and some footage that we have I'm going to try to show you what we do and why we do it, so that when you go out there and you got the bull of a lifetime, that you have a chance to work, just like you got your big bull, then it will be successful. So with that, let's see if we did 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 1. I just had to see if it worked. So, let's start with turkeys. Since I learned everything I know about hunting, calling the critters, it was a wild turkey that did it for me. So a wild turkey sees 270 degrees from one head position. So if you're trying to slip up on that turkey, it just don't happen. But if you can get kind of close enough to where you can call, well, that's a different ballgame, because now they're responsive to what you're saying. So the challenge that we had back in the day is where there were no turkey calls. A box call is about all we had to call with, and I'll demonstrate it for you here in a minute. But we use box calls, and this is just a piece of glass, and this is just a piece of rosewood striker. So, and before that, it was a turtle shell with a piece of slate in it. And it was a cedar peg with a corn cob on the end of it. So the calls that we had available to us was slim and none. So, anybody know how to use this little pan? All right, put the heel of your hand against the bottom of this call, and don't do this. That's a woodpecker in heat. And if you don't want to be dumped on by a woodpecker, don't do that call. So all I'm doing is making little circles on this piece of glass. Now here's why you don't want to peck. I try to know this call well enough that I can have it down here, and I can look around and see what's going on. The old man that taught me a lot about hunting kind of got into a bad habit. He would do this. So I was calling for him one day, and he did quite a bit, and he chewed pretty hard, especially when turkeys were coming in. He'd get all halfway excited, and the turkey go, oh! He'd go. He'd spit out the side. He wouldn't spit straight. He'd have to turn his head to the side. So the turkey took off. He said, what happened to that dang turkey? I said, I don't think he liked your tobacco, Dempsey. So I can get into turkey and all that stuff after we get done here tonight. But basically, this is a glass call. You put the striker against the glass and point the top of it away from you and pull into the glass. You can do that. There you go. That makes them go, oh! So we're still using our hands. Did I hear something? The old fart couldn't hold it back, could it? So here's the box call, great box call. This little piece of wood here is 200 years old. And we had chalk on it so that it's got some grip when we pull it against these are called the soundboards on the side. When you're calling turkeys or anything else, always expect an answer. And if you do get an answer, then you be ready to say something back. A lot of times you're so astonished that something actually answered the sound you were omitting. So just think of and if you're buddy hunting, it really sucks because oh, then you hear that Fred. So you want to anticipate a turkey calling. You don't want to be talking to Fred. So here we go. Oh! You pick up the cadence. Oh! 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 I love you. So you're trying to make that gobbler say, She was, let's face it, hen turkeys ain't all that pretty. They ain't a whole lot of running there to do. Matter of fact, I think I'd have to have that in Braille. I wouldn't want to look at it. I don't know why you said that. It don't make a bit of sense. But I got these calls up here, so if you want to learn how to use them, great. But I want you to think about something. Everything we had, everything we had to call with, you had to use your hands. So I go in this paint shop, a friend of mine, an old man, taught me how to turkey on. And I go into his paint shop, and that old crazy fart is doing this. I said, Mr. Runkle, how are you doing that? His name was Dennis Runkle. It's a secret. I said, do it again. And he didn't have to use his hands. So I said, what is it again? And he said, well, I ain't going to tell you. It's one of them prophylactic things. I said, really? Really? I said, well, how do you make one? He said, well, you get a toothpaste tube and you take a pair of tin snips and you cut your little horseshoe and you stretch that stuff across one side of the frame to the other. And that was the first diaphragm call I ever saw in my life, was the top of a toothpaste tube. So it started out being a turkey call. Wild turkeys make a sound when they're lost, called a kiki run. How many of you have ever called an elk in? That little kiki run is what made me think I could do an elk bugle with the diaphragm. So it goes like this. You got it? If you got falsies, you maybe want to load up on bottom rib. So you can take a small tube and make it have a little more sound. You don't want to call too heavy because you scare the elk you're calling to and they run off. This is called our runoff bugle. This is really good for guiding outfitters. You blow it to them, they don't blow it to you. So that's called more than one outfitter in. But I won't have to, well, I'll tell you, but it'll be really brief. But the best thing I did is going up to Canada, in February, and then people look like they're going to commit suicide any second. They ain't having a good day in Canada. If you'll point to something, they will always look where you're pointing to. I left my wife and the clerk at Gibson's Market in Montrose in the sleeping bags looking for a turkey one day. So there's a lot of things that now you don't have to use your hands. So the more you learn how to whistle on this call, then the more chances you may have the right sound to make an elk or a turkey come to your position. So, but it's a lot of fun, so. How do you do that, you say? Sound like a European ambulance? And if you're going down a speed walk at the Denver airport and there's a crowd, if you do that, they'll step aside. And they always think it's behind them. I guess I'll tell you this story. We got a chair up here, so I'll have to tell it to you. How many of you have been through the Denver airport lately? They had a sign on the men's bathroom, tornado, shelter, no smoking. I go into Denver airport and I hate going in there because the doors don't have good seals on them. And if somebody racks it down 2 or 3 stools from you, and they're in a hurry, maybe they got the excess gas or something, I don't know. But all the doors just fly open. And I don't know about the ladies' bathroom, but the men's, the cracks in there are god-awful big. You couldn't caulk it if you wanted to. So I'm sitting there trying to get done and get out as quick as I can. And here comes this city slicker, at least his shoes were. And he gets in there and he sits down by me in his little stall. Oh, God, I don't want to smell that. Well, then the sorry sucker started smoking. I said, I'm going to get lung cancer in here while I'm being asphyxiated. So there is help. This is what you can do to make that boy get up and leave all the time. He's doing his huffing and a puffing. I took a deep breath. That boy couldn't get out there quick enough. So, you all right? You ain't gonna have a heart attack. True story. But we ain't done. I'm in my position, and I see his little shiny shoes coming across in front of my stall. I said, that sucker's gonna look through my crack. I lost my butt somewhere. I don't know where my crack went. Anyway, I seen them shoes coming by, so I made him make a crack on my door. True story. Okay, how you gonna call an elk in? Well, they gotta be there first. So Janelle, that's where she comes in. She's got a great map system. And one thing she's not telling anybody is, and you need to press her on this, it's all that information she has in that gray matter about the numbers, success rate, this, that, and the other. So one thing she's got figured out is that. So I look at it from a standpoint of view that I made 5 or 6 trips to Colorado before I moved there. And we didn't have a clue where to go. So if you're going to call critters in, they got to be there. And if you want to call big critters in, you got to be where all, and the habitat's got to be right. They have to be able to have water, security, and all that. So let's just say that in the morning, we're going to go out. What would I do? I like selling these things. They're kind of fun. They're pretty, make good sounds. So that's what I kill with. I don't do any of the chuckles because if the bull answers, I want to hear him. And if you're chuckling and talking to Fred or Bob or Joe or whoever, you can't hear what's going on. So actually, when I'm with someone, I have them stand about 10 or 15 feet behind me, because he'll hear or she'll hear something that I don't hear, because my hearing is being distorted by the bugle. So. And if you do chuckle, don't try to make it so deep and heavy. Just try to do it nice and easy. We're going to show you some footage here in a little bit as to why. So I try to bugle. I try to hear different answers. I try to look at the terrain that I'm hunting. One place, the highest elevation on the ranch is only about 10 feet higher than the rest of the ranch. And that's where they would all go to bed up, just 10 or 15 feet higher in elevation on a flat spot, and that's where they would bed up. So how many of you hunt during the middle of the day? If I go take a nap in the middle of the day, it's out in the woods. I get tired, I take water, I take me a sandwich, and I cannot tell you how many times I have been sleeping, and all of a sudden, we're doing good. I think he's starting to strut. But I can't tell you how many times, no matter where I'm at, instead of driving all the way back to where you come from, just take a sandwich and take some water or whatever and enjoy the whole day there. And I've got a little tarp that I carry with me, and I spray it down with insect repellent. And if there's ants on the ground and stuff, they don't come and get you while you're sleeping. It is real bad to sleep in an ant bed and have them coming out of your nostrils when you wake up. You pull it like it's on a bungee cord. So anyway, that's kind of how we do it. But I try to get comfortable, and I want to be in an area that I think the elk are going to bed up in during the middle of the day. And here's what happens. I hadn't talked to y'all over here. Here's what happens. They feel secure, or else they wouldn't be sleeping in that spot. They would not be laying down in that spot. But they're not going from the feed-in of the morning to the midday. They're where they want to spend the day, and that usually occurs no later than 10 o'clock, unless it's overcast, and that changes. So we do that until about 3 o'clock. But I've seen a lot of elk come to a wallow at 1 o'clock and 12 o'clock. So it just depends on the elk and how hot it is. But just try to put yourself in a position, in a place where the elk want to come anyway. And it may be a tree stand on a water hole, maybe on the ground by a water hole. But they're coming to the water, so you're there calling, so they think more cows and bulls are there, and it actually will make them run to you. So kind of keep that in mind. Then during the middle of the day, again, that's when everybody wants to take a nap, but if you can try to get past that and not take a nap and think more about calling and what you got to. For all you bow hunters, I would say this. On this technique, I want to make dang sure I had an arrow nock and have my release ready to go. Because you have no clue what's coming in, because they tiptoe through the tulips to get to you. But we've seen big 400-point bulls slip in during the middle of the day like that. If you get the video running for me, I'm going to show you some footage that we found virtually in cabinets over 30-something years of elk hunting, and I could not believe how many bulls we had on video that we never used. So this will be the start of it. Can you dim these lights here? This is in Arizona. And you can call in different bulls and you'll say that's a herd bull. Sometimes, or a satellite bull. Sometimes satellite bull can be very big. And a lot of times when you're calling one bull, it doesn't mean other things ain't coming to see you as well. His tongue would make a good meal. we can hear them. And so a lot of times you're bugling or you're turkey calling and you think nobody's listening. But if you just had the patience to stand there or to retrace your steps, quite often the bulls are coming to see you. And then you have a better chance of getting one. I opened this up with a big scene. This is a monster bull. And I think I want to puke. He was really big. This is about 8:30 in the morning. And it really, if you can turn that audio up a tad. Like it's about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. Two big bulls really sparring it out for who's going to get the cows. So I got a pretty good bull I'm working. And then this big Super Bowl comes flying over the trees to get him. Right about here. I don't know how many points are on that rack, but there's quite a few. So sometimes when you're calling to an animal, I've seen it on turkeys, sometimes when you're calling to a turkey, another gobbler will come in and chase the turkey that's coming to you away. I've seen the same thing happen on elk. I've seen the same thing happen on white-tailed deer, not mule deer, but I'm sure it happens. So here's this beautiful bull that I thought I was going to get a shot on, but this big guy come after him to the point he took off. So you remember I said during the middle of the day, have a sandwich? We did that and took a nap. Now it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Everybody wants to start moving. I use pure elk urine. I use Centaway. There's Mr. Super Bull coming to cow calls. But watch what he does to a bugle without a grunt tube. No grunt tube, nothing, just a double reed diaphragm. If I was a muzzleloader, I would commence firing. If I was a rifle, I would really be commenced firing. If you're a bow hunter like me, don't be stupid, dude. Really and truly, a lot of the animals that you call in come straight to you, so what are you going to do? I let them come in and look everything over, and I got my release on my string, and when they turn to leave to run away, I give a real hard bugle or cow call, and invariably they'll stop and give you a shot. Isn't that pretty? We got one more big bull. That log is 12 yards away from where I'm standing. That was a good view. This is in southern Afghanistan. But how many times have you stood there with your bow? If you pull back, you're holding all this time and you can't get a shot. So what I like to do is just let him come and get close. When he blows like that, I bugle or cow call, go to full draw. Now I got me a 30-yard shot, broadside. On one little problem. My bow pulled away from me in the heat of the battle and my face mask is covering up my eye. There's the 380 400-point rule, 12 yards away, and my face mask is over my eye. So I would say based on that, you may want to try some face paint or some charcoal. And I haven't worn a face mask for many years. But we really didn't scare him. I guess there's so much we didn't scare him that bad. This is a different canyon. This canyon goes down, there's 3 canyons, one right in the middle and 2 on one side and 1 on the other. So you see some pretty good bull coming. And you slip in there, and again, I'm playing the wind continuously. I'm not just going in there. I'm playing the wind very continuously and paying attention to what it's doing. And sometimes you have to get completely out and then come back in. Like 4 or 5 hour kind of get away from the wind, let it settle, and come back. But if you push it when it's not right, then of course it'll smell you and take off. Now you see this bull right here. You'll notice him and you hear some swishing going on. That ain't me. That is my used to be cameraman. But whenever you're in the edit and you see that somebody's going behind your back, you know that maybe we're not all on the same team. But I guess really what I'm saying is once they get in close, your pants rubbing against your pant legs or your boots being real hard against some brush, that sort of thing, you just have to be aware of it and try to make sure you don't do it. We used to make a product called cat paws or super sneakers, and we had to quit making them because it's so labor intensive. But one of the best things I've ever used to cover up sound is 1/2-inch poly felt. So they come in, and even though they're only 25, 30 yards away, sometimes you just can't do it. This is an area close to where we're at. And what I learned on this bull, it seems like everyone has a story to tell. On this bull, he comes in on the left-hand side, and I don't have much vegetation there, so I'm just trying to get right next to a tree. And it works out pretty good. But you see, that's not a big tube at all. This has an unusual racking that one brow tine goes straight down the hill and goes up. So we call him crooked tine. But it's really a great time to hunt. We've had some rain there, so it's not as noisy as it has been. And you just know for sure he's going to come straight on to you. So if you call right there and he's not really wanting to come, he's getting more and more cautious, sometimes it's good just to let things settle down a little bit. But as he starts to leave, I said, okay, I'm going to give him one more try. So I actually changed the direction I'm calling, and I'm calling off to my right now. So this is the second time in. I think when you're calling, it's not so much how you sound as far as the volume, unless you just try to do it too deep, but it's a cadence of the call, especially in wild turkeys. So after all that, here he comes back. I got a 20-yard shot and he went 20 yards. And that would have been so easy to walk away from because you would have thought everything was over just because he turned and walked away. We do a wrap up here pretty quick. All right, folks, just let me give you a quick recap. Yesterday afternoon we came in here, have not ever elk hunted in this particular spot. Turkey hunted here in the spring and got to know the country a little bit. But we had 2 bulls come in, almost got one of them, and one of them was really big, bigger than this one even. As I said, wild turkeys have taught me more about hunting than any other species of wildlife. They see 10 times better than we do also. On this is the first afternoon of the hunt in New Mexico, and I'm just going to scout out, see if there's any fresh tracks. So we saw some fresh wallows and tracks, and decided to sit there. But I did a range find on the water itself, and on the far side of this water that you'll see, it's 62 yards. So I don't want to make that shot. So here he comes, straight to me. And I call him my Esther Williams bull.
If I draw now, I'm dead.
So I'm more secure in that green foliage than what you would think. So I'm not sticking out like a sore thumb. I'm more into what the foliage is. And as the bull gets closer, I say, maybe I will shoot. But I've seen him run to these dirt tanks. So far you couldn't see the elk, you just seen the dust coming. Really a neat deal. There's not water everywhere. So again, back to the maps that El's got. Knowing where, especially in dry country like where you're here in Arizona and New Mexico, knowing where all that water is a big time key thing. And as he's getting closer, I said, well, maybe I will do this. But you see, I'm just staying pretty steady right where I'm at. Broadside. When they're moving, I try to make them quit moving by calling to them, but this one didn't work on him, so I was fixing to lose the sight window. So I went ahead and shot, made a good shot. He was 35 yards. Now for him to come out of that dirt tank, for him to lay down in that grass, I knew one thing. It was a liver shot. He went down pretty quick. So we went and left him and come back after dark, and there he was.
That gives you any idea about... Oh, look at that 3 on this sucker.
Scored 344. So how does calling play a part in that? Well, the elk want to come to the water. So if you can do counter calls and bugles from that water, that makes every elk in that area think that there's somebody there at the water hole. Especially if you can get response from other elk coming towards your direction. So it adds fuel to the fire. So I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't go out and not call. I would go out and get into a spot that I knew that, or felt like there's a good chance they're going to come because of the past sign. Now this bull, I said something earlier about coming in on the bull. I came in on this bull 3 or 4 times, and the wind kind of kept changing. I was able to get a shot on he came out to where the openness was pretty good for a shot. And look at I know I'm drumming on this. This is during the middle of the day. This is 11 o'clock.
You don't see that when you hunt.
Not daylight, not dark, 11 o'clock during the day.
Although you can hang a ring on it.
This is in Gunnison, Colorado, and it started raining. I said, okay, if I can get him close enough to get a really good shot, I'll take it. But if you're hunting in the rain, you better make a good shot or else you won't be able to find it. There's the shot right there, right in the crease. You can't tell it was towards the end of the season, can you?
I ain't got a clue where we're at. He didn't go.
That was a great hunt, and then we had 3 mules, 1 for packing, 2 for riding, so we got there and we weren't very tired. We didn't leave the ranch until, I'd say, 12, 1 o'clock, so this is strictly an afternoon hunt on mules.
Lord have mercy.
I know like the places that you hunt in this country, you don't have to pack so far. You can drive different vehicles and what have you, but if you ever should need a mule, I try to take 2 and pack 1 and get a good one.
Shop, it seems like. Oh.
I've caught in a lot of bears with high-pitched elk calls. They seem to, they'll eat anything there is to eat. And I think there's a lot of mountain lions that you don't see that come to you while you're calling elk. I try to get by a tree so I'm not obvious. If you weren't so obvious on this bull, you probably could get a shot. But instead, you're going to get stepped on. Do you feel better about that now? I don't want to wish you no bad news or nothing. Really and truly, being serious, when you call an elk and that close, they get close to you, they kind of lose some of that caution. And the guy right now is looking for preparation H wipes. He hadn't used it for 2 years. It's a little dry. And that boy did enormously good by not falling down. Now this is a big bull. Again, if I was a gun hunter, commenced firing. He had 16 cows, and I went up and started bugling with a double reed diaphragm, no grunt tube, until he came up and started chasing me around the tree. And I said, I don't think I want to bugle no more. I wish now that I had, because it would have been a lot of fun. But he came running over, and he's going to chase me around the tree. And he kind of gives me the look he's not going to do anything. And I'm filming all this. I'm using my tripod as a monopod. The guy that actually had the elk tag on this bull has gone home. We sent him a copy of the footage. Yeah. Those things you see moving are 16 cows behind him. We sold that hat for $26,000 at the Elk Foundation. So again, this is in Colorado's public land. 11 o'clock during the day, I'm using my call as scouting for elk. And I just want to hopefully hear something. We heard one bugle, so we set up immediately. And it amazes me how they can pinpoint you from, say, 100 yards away. They know right where to come. So I didn't want to shoot him, and I stuck him in the nose with an arrow. And since he didn't smell me, he came back for another dose. Only this time he's all bristled up. So I guess folks, what I want to leave you with this piece of footage is you had a shot, you stuck him in the nose, you made him bloody, he came back again, and if you had kept your cool, you would have numerous shots at him. You don't necessarily have to take that first shot. This is what we call the booger bull. Again, during the middle of the day. I held on him 4 minutes and so many seconds. And him and his booger stayed right there. Go to your taxidermist and says, I want to remember him. Make me a booger a foot long. Now, a lot of times you get in a situation where you're calling a lot of different bulls in. You never know when the big boy is going to come. So I just keep calling and hoping. I about made him pee on himself. Where did you come from? So can you believe all of this was in a bin footage that we never used? This is 11, 12 o'clock during the daytime on a high part of the ranch. Pinyon, juniper, and they just love getting up in that stuff. It's not very high, and if you just really pay attention, you get a shot. There's a guy sitting 8 yards away, right off that shoulder of that bull, and he's not shooting. He has a recurve. And I asked him, why didn't he shoot? He said, I couldn't see his horns. I said, you couldn't see his horns? No, I couldn't see his horns. But I hunted with him for 13 years, and he never killed a bull with his longbow. They had his number, as did this one. And these are nice bulls, and most of us would want to try to get something like that. However, it's a small bull for the area that we're hunting. But again, I'm calling, and the reason I say this, check this bull out. First thing in the morning, see if he grows on you when you look at his rack. Isn't that pretty? Very narrow. Very narrow. In front of brown times, I swear, 2.5 feet long. That friend of mine from New Mexico is sitting on the ground, not pulled back. Elk had his number. I mean, he just, every time an elk would come in, he would go nuts.
Let's go, buddy.
I tell you what, if you're still watching,
Okay, I've been hunting for 30, 40 years, 75 years old.
if we can go get our stand,
Killed the biggest elk I've ever killed out of a tree stand. Who would think?
there's a big crowd up there, so
I do a lot of hiking and such, getting one canyon, then the other. And we checked this area out five or 4 days before, and it was completely clean. No messed up water, nothing. But now here's the last afternoon of the entire season for New Mexico.
these tracks.
And I tell my camera guy, let's get the camera, which was 28 miles away we had to go get, so that's 56 miles, I guess. And we cut limbs out. We scented the place up. I sprayed everything down with scent away. I get up in the tree, I go through cow calls and bugles. About every 30, 40 minutes you'd hear this call. I said, I don't have to kill him if I can just see him. Just see what he looks like. So there we are sitting in this tree stand. And it was all I could do to stay in that thing. And here comes what I thought was a non-typical. This bull scores 397 and 7/8. He was number 38 all time in Pope and Young, I am told. And for that recording period, he was number 2. So we got the cows in there drinking, watering down. Got the wind blowing pretty good. You can hear through the mic. limbs are flying around. If you're going to have a tree stand, make real sure that you have a safety harness. And what I did, it was long enough that I could actually stand up, lean away from the tree to get a shot. Other than that, I probably would not have gotten a shot. All the cows are leaving, so I'm saying, well, if I don't do something pretty soon, this whole thing could evaporate. He was there for 7 minutes, y'all. That bull was in that water for 7 minutes. And we got to watch him all that time and finally get a shot. We were 23 feet up a tree. There goes a cow, one of the last ones. That's him standing there. So if you're a bow hunter, just think of all the thoughts that go through your head in a moment like this. So bow hunters, what I'm trying to do, I'm using a bow. So I want to shoot at the far leg. I don't want to shoot at the narrow one or the close one. I want it to come out at the furthest leg. So that's what I'm concentrating on when I put my pin and shoot. See how bad the wind's blowing. So as he looks back over his shoulder, and comes back, I release, and you can see it squirting out of the back. I'd say he went all total about 300 yards.
Bit back, but it came out just right by his shoulder. Complete pass through. Not a perfect drop. I think I just heard it. Not a perfect broadside.
It was so classic. As you can see, the sun is fading fast. So we decided to go to camp and look at the field, make sure everything was good. Last day of the hunt, like I said earlier, all my hunting buddies were in camp. They came out to help me. But as we went to looking for them a little bit before we went into camp, 2 ravens started calling. They were sitting over top of that hill. When I got back, that's exactly where he was at, where the 2 ravens were.
Go ahead with your bad self. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, look at this.
All the front records were 2 feet each.
Holy mackerel.
Wayne, you shot
Oh. As you said, Al, he was dead. Man, look at the records. Look at the front records.
Look at the G3.
Okay, if you turn that off, turn the lights back up, I appreciate it. So I had the advantage, I get to go hunting, I get to see a lot of things, and I too am a Christian, and I learned, kind of compared to calling. You see a big bull elk at 300 yards, you see a big bull elk at 300 yards. You see an elk at 200 yards and a little more majestic. You see an elk at 2 yards. You see the boogers in their nose. You see the sweat on around their eyes. You see the wetness of their lips and their chin and all that. So, but if you hadn't come up close to you, you don't get to see all that. Kind of the same thing with God. If God's standing out there 300 or 400 yards away from you,
Amen.
you may want to try to do something to have a closer relation. And I'll tell you a few testimonies. I killed a world record moose. Most people don't know that. But I killed a world record moose. First moose I ever shot in my entire life. Broke the world record by 12 points. And it stood since 1968. Well, I had been guiding people, so I really hadn't hunted for 4 or 5 years for myself, so you kind of lose the touch of the killer instinct when you're guiding and you're not shooting. So I went hunting in Colorado, killed me an elk by myself, packed him out, the whole deal. And I fly up to British Columbia, and we were going on the brush plain, so we were so far away from anything, it's pathetic. And here comes this monster moose that, again, I never killed a moose, so anything's pretty big. But when you see one that's 50-something inches wide, and his paddles are 41 and 44 inches long, and he's 17 points on the side, that'll get your attention. But we couldn't find that bull. I had hit him high in the artery, and I was just about ready to break down. And I'm in a little creek by myself, and I just said a quick prayer to the Lord. I said, "Dear Lord," I said, "I know you got lots to do." I said, "But if there was any way you could help me with this," I said, I practiced. I tried to dedicate myself to doing what was right and do a good hunt. And I just no more thought it and said it. My cameraman, who was a city slicker, he started screaming at me, "Yo, Wayne!" Sound like Uncle Harvey. I said, "What, Derek?" He says, "Your moose is sleeping." I said, "Derek, this ain't no time to be goofing around. Walk over there and whip your butt." He says, "I'm standing next to your moose." I said, "Don't wake him up." I went over there with 1,800 pounds of meat. You could not budge the thing. We had to take them apart piece by piece. Just a tremendous animal. But for my camera guy and for me just to have said that little prayer by myself, and then all of a sudden, pow, my camera guy just charged me out of my thoughts. I said, "This is spooky." I started looking around. So I was guiding a guy in Colorado, and he shot an elk. He's 34 years old from Florida, and the only way he learned how to shoot was sitting in a tree stand with his feet anchored up on a tree stand, shooting like that. So he shot this 6-point bull in the lower part of the intestines. I said, "This is going to be fun." So there was no snow where he shot, so you couldn't trail anything. I said, "Let's go up and catch the snow line." Went up on the snow line, and sure enough, there was fragments of juices on the snow and all that. I said, "Okay." I said, "Be ready to shoot, because when he jumps up, he ain't going to sit around." So we're trying to slip through, and sure enough, we got within 50 yards of that bull elk, and he missed him. I said, "Dad, blame it, doggone it, I swear." I said, "I'll just whip you." And I said, came back in the next morning from the opposite side of the mountain, made a big search for his elk, and the snow started to melt, so we didn't have a lot of snow up there. And again, I'm behind, I'm just looking, I said, "Lord, I don't think we're going to find this without your help. Please help." And for whatever reason, the sense for me to walk to my right and then go straight ahead, that elk was laying 20 yards away in a depression. And we were able to find him right there. I told the guy, I says, "Come on up and finish him off." He could not believe it. So I've had these kind of experiences out in the field. I can tell you one thing, if God is in your life, it's a whole lot better than if he ain't in your life. Amen. So say amen to that. Amen. I appreciate y'all putting up with all this mess up here. And one last story is I wasn't going to do this tonight, but I'm glad it did. Thank y'all.
Very, very blessed to have Wayne come in for this free hunting seminar, guys. And as we've mentioned before, we are a 501c3. Usually you come to a seminar like this, you're paying to come to it, guys, and we would like to continue to do stuff like this. So if you feel led to leave a donation tonight or something, that'd be awesome. We have want to just one more time give it up for Wayne.
What a great seminar. Absolutely a wealth of knowledge to absorb and apply on our next hunt. I'm always appreciative of those who are willing to give their finite time to teach and share their knowledge with us. Also, let's give a huge shout out and thank you to Christian Hunters of America for all of their volunteering and holding this event. A huge thanks and shout out to Calvary Phoenix for allowing the event to be held there. Thank you to everyone who came out. I saw a few BowhuntingAZ shirts being worn proudly, and I love it. Don't forget about the upcoming Clint Wells shoot August 10th to the 12th. BowhuntingAZ will be there. Make sure to check out the short film, The Wait, on our YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at BowhuntingAZ. We have a great couple giveaways coming up, so check us out. And as always, don't forget to share the episode, subscribe, and leave us that 5-star review. God bless everyone. We'll see you in the next one.